Welcome to Bikini Prep 5. We are 2 weeks and 1 day out from show day. Veins have been coming out, things have been happening. It's been a while since I've made a video, so let's talk about it. I had ordered my suit a while back, and it took about 7.5 weeks for my suit to come in. And when it came in, it was tiny. So the suits are actually very small in general. And it is new for me, who doesn't even like to wear a regular bathing suit, let alone such a tiny like bikini. Front of my suit sat so low that it was like almost like, why even bother wearing a bottom on the front? Fortunately, I contacted the company and they said to send it back, which made me very nervous because at the time that means it was less than 5 weeks. And they said they'll have a 2 week turnaround for a fix. And so it came in yesterday and I tried it on this morning, and I'm still keeping the color a surprise until show day, but I feel so much better. I think it's a little more appropriate. On the paperwork, it says modest front, and I'm like, okay, if that's modest, I'll take it because I don't know what the other one was called, but inappropriate. I had it on in trying it on, and my husband came into my home gym and he was like, yo. I was like, I know, I know, I know. He was like, Jack. I said, I know, I know. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, okay. So we got it fixed. Now we just got to get comfortable like wearing it. Let's just do a little bit of a recap. I've asked a lot of questions, or I've gotten a lot of questions on Instagram, and I try to answer them in stories, and I try to save things to a prep highlight. But let me go through some things and kind of how we have progressed through prep. When I first started with my coach, I think I did a video that talked about calories, and we started at 1615 at 130 protein, 140 carb, 55 fat. Prior to me working with her, I didn't track calories, I didn't track carbs, I didn't track anything except for protein. And I was getting like 180 grams. And my body craves protein. It was really hard for me to get down to 130. And there were definitely days where I was still hitting like 140. When I had a really low day, let's talk about that. On my stories, when we were in California, we went to California in June for 2 weeks, and we stayed at 7 hotels. We did a lot of driving. We did a lot of activities. We hit multiple places around California: Pacific Coast Highway, San Francisco, LA, Anaheim, San Diego, and Coronado Island. And that was a lot. I was staying on top of my nutrition as best I can. I prepped a bunch of food to take with me, but because we weren't staying in one hotel, it also meant that like we didn't have like a suite somewhere. It meant that I could get like a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, but then all my like non-perishable stuff I took more with me. By the time that we hit LA, I my body was feeling it, my mind was feeling it, and I think because of travel, I was not hitting enough macros. One night we went out to dinner. It was supposed to be an Italian restaurant, which I don't even like Italian food. It was in LA, and there was very little on the menu. It said no substitutions. And the only thing that I could eat and get protein was sea bass. And it literally just came as a piece of sea bass. There were no veggies on the side. There were no carbs that I could have on the side. And by the time we were eating, it was like 9 something p.m. We'd had a very long travel day that morning. When we got back to the hotel room, I was like, this is not enough. I think I had either some Greek yogurt or just like a piece of the chicken, but I had that chicken prepped for like the next day because we're going to a lot of ballparks. And so I needed to be able to bring food with me into ballparks. And I think I had like some rice cakes and almond butter and some like carrots. And then at that point, I was like, I'm so tired. I'm just going to bed. And then, of course, the next day I woke up and it was a glute day. And I was like, I struggled in that workout. It took me like 15 minutes just to set up this huge bar. And then just the rest of it was struggle. Like I was exhausted and I hit a really low point. And it was also a day that I had to take progress pictures for my coach. Everything felt really flat. I felt my glutes have been my weakest area. My hamstrings have been really weak. They just don't show. You need to build and then slim down and trim down and cut the calories and lose some body fat for them to show. And that is true for many women. And so for me, my shoulders will look ripped And then I can turn around from the backside and it's like, oh, she neglects legs. No, she doesn't. She's doing glutes 3 times a week. They are just harder to show the same amount of definition. And so anyway, I like, I had a little mental breakdown. And then I got some breakfast and I started to feel better and some coffee. And I had messaged my coach and whatnot. And so from then on, she actually bumped me to 140 protein at the time. And then about 2 weeks ago, maybe, we dropped down calories to 1575. Might even been a little longer than 2 weeks ago. And it's 140 protein, 130 carb, 55 fat. And so that has been pretty good. I still wish I could get more protein, but I'm taking it as it is. Calories and macros have been adjusted. New suit is in. Now I just need to get online and order. I've ordered some rings. I just need to order earrings and the bracelets. I ordered silk pajamas to like hang out in and to sleep in. I already have a black robe, like a silk robe. So I'll wear that. I have 2 blankets that have now been sent to me. One came with the first suit, and then when they sent back the new improved suit, that. So you'll need that like backstage. And some girls say that they can get really cold, and it also depends on where it is. But your body fat is a lot lower on generally on stage day, so you might be feeling colder. Most of prep has been good. I had that one little setback from California. Then I would say the hardest part for me was posing. It looks like it should be your easiest thing. Posing is not. It is, you need to like really watch your foot placement. You need to make sure that as you're turning, you're not dropping your glutes. That you're like sucking it in and like holding a lean but full pose. You're judged on specific front pose, back pose, etc. And like you could have one of the better conditioning packages on stage, but if your presence, the whole package, but then also your posing isn't that good, like a girl next to you who may not have the best conditioning, she could place higher than you for that. So there's like very simple things on how you can get deducted points. So posing has been, I would say, overall the hardest part. On the personal side of things, since June, my father-in-law has really been struggling downhill quickly with his health, in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, this doctor, that doctor, changing hospitals to this hospital. And so today is Friday. Today would be, like I said, 2 weeks out. On Sunday night, it took a real bad turn for the worse. Monday morning, I started getting text messages from my husband at the hospital at like 2:30, 3 a.m. of what had happened overnight. And by 4:30, I got a phone call to say, if you want to come and say your goodbyes, you should come now. I usually teach a 6 a.m. class. I sent off a bunch of texts. Sorry, I'm canceling class. I threw whatever I needed to into a bag because I still had to hit the gym that morning for my personal workout, which of course was glutes. I booked it to this hospital, spent some time with my family there. My husband and I were able to go in. I said my goodbyes. They were waiting for other family to come in a little bit later that afternoon, and they were going to take him off the respirator. And so by 7:30 a.m., I was at the gym. And I feel like I have really had to compartmentalize a lot towards the end of this prep. It's a very selfish sport, and it's a great time. Like, you should be able to make yourself such a priority, but life still happens around you. And then you can feel selfish for making yourself this priority, for putting the amount of time and effort and whatnot into your prep. And so it has been a little bit of a juggling act on how do I be supportive in this point right now. And we are this close to show. On top of that, it took me 13 years to get up the courage to get on stage. And I had a moment where I was like, how have I come this freaking far, invested this much time, effort, sweat, and money? And then there was a potential that I was going to have to skip the first show. And so we are not, we are battling through. And so I am just going to adjust and keep prepping and bring food with me to the funeral and all of that. So it has been an adjustment. And then on top of that, our cat got a little injury the other night, fighting with another cat. So it has just been like, okay, I feel like, we always say like, the devil knows how to tempt you and whatnot. And so I'm just really trying to stay like focused. And I'm still excited about show. Prior to these past couple weeks, I was starting to get really nervous that I felt like I was not, the scale was not showing as much. And again, when you're on stage, the judges are not judging you by how much body fat you have, like what your number is, which I don't know what like your scale says, like how much you weigh that day. Are trying to get down to a certain point. It's different for everybody on stage, to showcase the most muscle. But this past, right now, I'm choosing not to share my weight just because my past with having an eating disorder, and it scares me that skinny talk is coming back, where there's like an emphasis on the whole skinny thing again, and what people are doing very unhealthy things on how to lose weight and whatnot. I just don't know who's going to see the videos, and I don't want somebody to see a number and then they are not near there, or they want to do something drastic to hit that number, because again, this is just for a season. And then I will go back after my 2 shows. I will do a reverse, uh, and bring myself back to maintenance, and then whatever for my off season to build more strength and whatnot and conditioning. So right now I've chosen not to share a number. Maybe by the end I will. We're almost there. We are almost there. Posing has gotten a lot better. Coach says posing looks a lot better. I have one little foot placement thing to keep working on, but we're feeling pretty good. Energy has still been good. Strength has been good. So that's pretty much my latest. The last couple of months, I have enjoyed my workouts. I have definitely pushed myself. I have tried new machinery. I have increased my strength, my weights. I look forward to my workout so much. I've always loved my working out, and I've always looked forward to workouts, but I like really look forward to them now, partly because you have there's like an end result, and I just want to bring my best. So stay tuned, and I'm hoping to do a video for peak week.